Hey, what did the alien say to the cat?
What?
Take me to your litter. What do you call a comet wrapped in bacon?
What?
A meteor. A meteor.
It's not funnier the second time.
Oh. How did the space teddy bear cross the road?
How?
Ewoked.
AP gets his fortune read with tarot. Eric rides a choo-choo with season 4 of Snowpiercer. I hang out with the Hargreaves in season 4 of The Umbrella Academy. And we all find out if anyone can hear you scream in space with alien Romulus on this week's episode of Whatcha Watchin'. Welcome to Whatcha Watchin', presented by Geeky, a show where we dive into what's currently on our screens. Big screens or little screens, size matters not here, just the quality or lack thereof of our cues. Gentlemen, we didn't all hang out this week.
Weird, right?
No, because you flat left us.
That's right. Without warning. It's like, bye.
See ya. Sorry, guys. Sorry. I know. I felt my Friday was very odd too, because I mean every Friday for I feel like the last 10 years has been lunch at one of our establishments with you guys. I don't know what happened on Friday, but
I messed up. I messed up the whole vibe with my little trip.
You and your trip. Well, is your trip your highlight and your low light? What happened?
Yes, my trip is my highlight and my low light.
Oh no. Okay, tell us about it.
We went up to Legoland in New York. I think it's Goshen, New York, just across the border from New Jersey, and it.
Is it first time?
No, not the first time. We've been there quite a few times, but they're doing what I predicted. Right when they first opened, everything was pristine, like everything was super nice, but also things were very spread apart. Right, it took a while from go to one land to another to another to another. It was just a lot of emptiness, and I said, guaranteed they're going to start filling in the blanks, right, over time, and like charging more for premium things and blah 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 blah. And that's exactly what they're doing. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket surgeon to figure that out. It's the I don't know. It seems like a chore going there now, because it's like we enjoyed going when we were kids were younger. Kids still love it, but like the food quality's dropped off a little bit. Like you could tell they're taking shortcuts with things. They're charging for more experiences. It's one of those things where you pay a premium to go there or something, and you expect a little bit better service. Like I guess I'm spoiled a little bit with other amusement parks, and you don't get it. Like you don't get the premium experience at all. The big draw is like, you get to go to Lego store and they have like exclusive things and this and that. It's like a more money. You're shelling out more money for more stuff. So I mean, we had a decent enough time. There was a rain out at some point where I think they have 20 rides total, and only 3 were open.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, I could understand safety, thunderstorms, lightning in the area. You don't want people walking around outside next to big, heavy pieces of metal. I get that, right? But it's like, and their rain policy is fantastic, I found out. It's literally like, just come back within a year. Your tickets are valid.
That's cool.
Right, like you don't have to go to get services. Like they have the date marked down as a rain day, and you just come back, show your tickets, and they'll just give you new tickets. So that's pretty good, right? And then we stayed at the hotel. Again, same thing. Like,
oh, you stayed out there?
Yeah, we stayed just the night. The premium experiences. Yeah, so we stayed at the hotel. The room was nice, set up for the kids. You know, they had the little bunk bed area and all that stuff. They had a little treasure hunt inside the room just specifically for the kids, where they had to like open a safe by finding the numbers and stuff like that. And that's basically it. You know, 2 food areas that were literally right next to each other. A little store, maybe a crafting area, a little play area, a pool. But then you had to like walk a solid 5 minutes or something like that to get to the park. It wasn't like you had a special access because you were in the hotel. It was like none of that. It was like, you know, they built everything together. It wasn't like the hotel was an afterthought. It was like hotel and amusement park. And I'm like, well, if you're paying this premium to stay on site, like you should have like something special, like a trolley, you know, something that goes. Nope. Look, well, you got to walk all the way around to the parking lot, and then from the parking lot, walk into the main entrance. You know, go through security with everybody else. And again, it's. I just expected a more premium experience for paying the premium price of staying on site. I don't know.
So should I send Jesse's sister's kids there? Because, you know, this was on their list.
I mean, for the day, absolutely.
Okay.
Just, I don't know if they should stay there. I don't know. They'll definitely have
Should
fun.
we keep them there? Okay, don't keep them there.
Well, but again, it's one of those things. It's like, how hardcore Lego fans are they? AFOLs, kids, whatever. Like, it's all dependent, right? It's like, do they have this where they live? No, let's experience this. Okay, let's do it, right? I like I said, we only live like an hour to 10, 15 away, depending on traffic. It's a quick just shoot up there and, you know, go there for a couple of hours. And then once you've done it once or twice, you're like, I could literally zoom through this park within like 2 hours. Mm-hmm. Right? You don't need to do the rides over and over again. So yeah, I don't know. Like I said, highlight and low light.
Yeah. All right. That's a good highlight and low light. Definitely want to check it out. But I probably won't spend the night. I'll do a day trip. To your point, it's only an hour away. So yeah. We like
look for the discounts and stuff like that. It's like buy one, get your kids free, you know, kind of situation. They have those deals all the time. So look for something like that if you go.
Good tip. What about you, Eric? What were your highlights and lowlights?
I was in Mexico.
I
went to, and I think we talked about this before. I went to this year's 501st Legion Training Day in Mexico, which is, for those who don't know, started as a recruiting play, really. It's a parade of just Star Wars to show off our costumes. We have them in Mexico, we have them in Spain, and then I think the one in Germany is starting out this year. So pretty exciting stuff. You know, got to hang out with a lot of our, especially Latin American 501st troopers. There were a bunch of Americans that came down. It was a whole lot of fun. I think there were close to 300 troopers who marched in the parade.
That's great.
And I think there were 30,000 people at the parade.
That's cool. Big numbers.
Yeah.
And is this parade specific to the 501st, or is it part of something else? It's just a 501st parade.
Which is what makes this unique, right? I think that, typically parades that we do around the world are part of something, right? So like St. Patrick's Day, whatever kind of situation. This is literally like local news on all that stuff talks about how there's a day of like a parade of galaxies, right? And then it's not just 501st. I think the Rebels also invited. But anyway, it's pretty much the same thing. It's the same group of people. And that's it. Like, people legit come out to do this. And then, like I said, every year, I love seeing people selling like knockoff Star Wars merch on the side of the road as we're doing this. I was like, we are big enough where it justifies for that to happen, which is kind of crazy. It's a bit of a grueling parade this year around compared to last year. I think because of the sun, like the sun was in our face and all that kind of stuff. But it was a whole lot of fun. Get to hang out with people. The town that we're in is a town called León, which is what a lot of leather goods are made in Mexico.
That's cool.
And you can get like crazy leather goods for cheap. Mm-hmm. And I saw a bunch of boots that I wanted to get. animal activists, please turn away. But there were some pretty insane boots that I was eyeing. I just didn't find a good design that I liked it. There are typical boots like crocodile boots, like ostrich boots. I saw elephant boots when I was down there.
Whoa. Okay.
I saw ostrich leg boots. So ostrich boots you can usually tell by like the leather, like it plucks leather kind of situation. So there's like little bumps on them. Ostrich leg boots have like the pattern of the leg on it, which is kind of cool.
Okay.
And then there were fish, like some crazy big fish down in Brazil whose skin is like enough for them to make it into boots, which I also go, holy crap, that's crazy.
Interesting. Interesting.
That was pretty fun. But next year it's going to be, like I mentioned, this is every year, and in Mexico they rotate it by states. Next year it's going to be in the Yucatans, so near Cancun. Well, when I say near, it's 3 hours west of Cancun. It's a town called Merida, which is their capital. I think it's going to be somewhere in the fall. They never really know until when it gets closer, because you got to get permits and all that kind of stuff. Which, by the way, like when we talk about parade, like local governments get involved. Like there's permits, like police gets called out to block off the street for us, like the whole shebang. So it's not just a bunch of dudes like walking on the street. It's like a whole production. And so that is happening. They're waiting for the permits for that to come down.
And we don't do this in the United States, do we?
No.
Why not?
And we've talked, like,
remind me.
A lot of us have talked about it. I think permitting, cost, hosting folks, right? I think a lot of it is a lot more affordable and easily doable in places like Mexico, honestly. I know they're also doing Spain. I mean, honestly, I think it's just a lot of work. And you got to find people who are willing to step up and do this.
So we're cheap and lazy up here in the United
thing.
States.
Yes.
That's what you're saying. Okay, I gotcha.
And then there are things that we never thought about before until you start talking to folks, because there were talks around, well, what if we do something like near the border of Mexico? Maybe we can attract folks to kind of come up. So less of a travel. And then someone was like, oh, but a lot of these people here won't be able to get visas. And I go, oh, I forgot about that. And I started thinking how unfair it is that American can just drop in and just go like, here you go, I'm here in Mexico. But a lot of the Mexicans cannot. They got to get visas to kind of come back come visit the United States, which, there are complications like that to consider. Yeah, cool. I mean, maybe they can do it at the border in Mexico at the border.
I think
that doesn't sound very safe.
I think the bureaucratic red tape that exists in the United States, it's like you basically have to find a place that doesn't really care for any of that, which is probably few and far between. And then, if that is the case, then it probably won't be able to support 300 people descending onto a town, like a tiny town in America. To be like, near the whole, like the parade route is near the hotel or the hotel blocks, plural kind of thing. Like I could only think about like, oh, well, if we did something in Jersey City, for example, here in New Jersey, you have to pay the cops overtime, kind of thing. Like I'm pretty sure like those things are all like checked off, where maybe in Mexico it's like, they're most socialistic, so they're like, no, we're gonna embrace this. This is really good. It brings tourism, and we're gonna we're gonna help everyone out and help them with the permitting and this and that and the other thing. And where here it's like, no, we don't want to deal with that because we have to pay the street sweepers and the cleaners and this and that and the other thing. And so one thing America does really good is bureaucracy. So I would love for it to happen in the United States. I think that's the biggest hang up. Not so much the laziness. I'm sure we have tons of troopers that are like, let's get this done.
To Chris's point, I'm looking at, I think the Spain one, like the government and their tourism board is all involved, right? So they're all excited about this is happening, and they go like, oh, like let us know when so we can contribute whatever resources we want to kind of bring this to life. And so, I think it's kind of difficult for that to kind of happen here. Anyway, so that's what I was up to. Looking forward to next year, possibly, or I might try to go across the pond to Europe to try to check out some of their training days. So
Nice.
that's what's happening. By the way, Chris, did you get a haircut?
Yeah, I get every so often I get a haircut.
Yeah, I don't know. I just noticed. Yeah, just right now noticed.
When we hung out, it was dark in the movie theater, so like I don't blame you.
Okay, cool.
At least
Anthony, what were you up to?
All right, so I know we're way over time on this, but what was I doing? So my low light, I was in Savannah this week, and it was so hot, and it was a work trip, and it was like one of those work trips where it's like 18 hours of work and then like zero free time to explore. And so I would love to get back to Savannah. It's a beautiful city, rich history, fantastic food, but I just did not get a chance to explore any of it. So that was kind of the low light. It's always a bummer when you go out of town and your schedule is just so jam-packed that you can't do any exploring. Highlight, well, I've got my decking delivered, so I'm going to be working on that today to finally finish my deck project in the backyard. And I'm like one thing away from finishing my pinhead model, and then I can edit the video and finally get a made by AP video up after like 5 months of being on hiatus. And then the last thing, which I'm torn on, is I have my last. I've been taking acting classes. I take acting classes every so often just to kind of stay in it. And my last class is tomorrow, and it's bittersweet because it's been a fun journey. But at the same time, I'm looking forward to getting my Monday evenings back so I can work on other things. So those were my highlights and lowlights of the week. All right. Well, shall we get into our review of Romulus?
Yeah, let's start with Romulus. We've all watched Romulus, although separately.
Again, together but separate.
Together but separate. And I finally saw it the week it came out. I actually saw it Thursday night, so it was the preview night.
Yeah.
Your badge of honor is negated by your lack of friendship communication.
Look, it was a game time decision. My family's home, and they're all jet lagged, and so at 6:00 they started going to bed, and I'm like, okay, well, I have an opening, and I looked, and there was like one ticket in the back row of the XD Theater at Cinemark. I was like, honey, can I go to this? Yes, I'm going.
All right. Okay, you and your excuses.
Yeah, could still, you could have taken like the 3 seconds to send a text, just saying.
I am such a jerk. I'm so sorry.
Anyway, please go ahead with your introduction of this week's feature topic.
All right. So, directed by Fede Alvarez and produced by the man himself, Mr. Ridley Scott, Romulus is set 20 years after the events of Alien and tells the story of Rain, her adopted android brother Andy, and a band of friends who attempt to escape the oppressive, indentured mining colony of Jackson Star by hijacking a decommissioned space station that is conveniently right above this wary band of miners' heads. Now, as you can imagine, as the runaways board the ghost station, things go incredibly wrong, incredibly fast. From a massive colony of highly animated and somewhat explicit facehuggers to the eventual appearance and chase fest of a xenomorph, this film has everything to help it stand on its own as a pretty damn good sci-fi thriller, to also tying nicely in with the canon. Some highlights for me sitting in that theater watching an Alien movie on the big screen for the first time in a while. Now, take a step back. I love the original Alien, 1979 Alien, and Aliens. I think they're beautiful films. The production design of those films is some of the most outstanding production design. And then just how Alien originally was constructed as a film. It's a lot of quiet. The tagline is, "In space, no one can hear you scream," right? And so they kind of carry that feeling throughout the original Alien film. I think this movie did a pretty good job of capturing the essence of that. The visual effects were spectacular. The parade of face huggers. If you're an arachnophobe, this is not the film for you on a big screen, because it is like arachnophobia in space. I don't think have we seen that many face huggers in one grouping before. Like there must have been 100 of them, but
We didn't see that in. No, I think this is the most because I'm thinking back to even to like the Prometheus and
yeah.
Covenant kind of stuff. I don't think we saw like a huge army.
No, yeah, this was like a huge, huge army of them, and so, but just like how they were animated in the visual effects, I don't know if they were practical or digital effects, but I think they just did a fantastic job with bringing those to life en masse, and then also obviously the xenomorph herself or himself, gender neutral, their self. I like how it also tied into the canon really nicely, and you got these nods to the original, but um, also nods to not the original, if that makes any sense. So, like I said, this takes place 20 years after the fact, and in the storyline, Big Chap, who is the original xenomorph, is picked up and brought to the space station that's kind of over Jackson's star, and they mine the alien for the black goo that we learn about in, I think it was not Covenant, I think it was Prometheus, right? Yeah, it was Prometheus.
Prometheus, yeah.
Yeah, and they're trying to harvest this black goo because this black goo, in essence, if from Prometheus, is the creation of life, right? Or the end or creation of life, and so it's tying the new content from like Prometheus and Covenant into the storyline, which is really cool. And then I also liked the character of Rain, who was played by Kaylee Spaney. Where do I know her from?
Civil War.
I didn't see Civil War
Did you watch
yet.
that?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
Ah.
Oh, she was in
It was good.
Priscilla. Unlimited World First Lady. I haven't. Oh, Mayor of Easttown. That's probably where I know her from. She plays, I think, the daughter of the woman from Titanic, whose name is escaping me right now. Anyway. Oh,
Rose.
Rose. What was Rose? Who's the actor? What's her name?
Kate Winslet.
Thank you. And she was also in Pacific Rim Uprising. Anyway, she was wonderful.
Wait, what was she? Pacific Rim Uprising?
She was Amara Namani. A Pacific Rim Uprising is another film I have not seen yet, but she was in it, and she's a credited character.
Yeah, the first Pacific Rim was better than the second Pacific.
Was it? Yeah, I mean, I didn't see either one of them. So, but she's in it, and she plays Rain, who is the main protagonist. And she is Ripley. Like, there's no bones about it, you know. But unlike Force Awakens, where it was a play-by-play of A New Hope, like this was not a play-by-play of Alien, but the character of Rain, I mean, you could line up Rain and Ripley next to each other, and it is even to the last scene where she's in her underwear escaping the xenomorph is exactly the same scene at the end of Alien with Sigourney Weaver in her underwear, you know, escaping the xenomorph. So like there were those types of nuggets, but those were some of the things that I liked about it. Some of the lowlights. And these are spoiler alerts. This comes out the Monday after the opening. And remind me, we're good to do spoilers? Okay, spoiler alerts. If you don't want spoiler alerts, jump ahead maybe 5 or 10 minutes. Baby alien. What the hell was that? That was weird. And
So good!
Oh,
so
no,
good!
no. Look, design-wise, beautiful design.
I thought you love horror films.
Do.
That was awesome.
I do. And design-wise, it was a beautiful creature, but it made no sense to me. Like I understand how it happened, but I just don't understand why it happened.
I mean, this is not new in this franchise. This whole idea of hybrids that's kind of showing up.
Wasn't that what was in Prometheus? The beast and the or not the beast, but yeah, I don't know. For some reason, it stood out more to me in this than it did in Prometheus, and it just kind of I was like, what?
I think it's because of the nature of birth was much more natural this time.
Yeah, but probably that's what it was. Yeah, that definitely threw me off. The other spoiler alert is, and it was a nice tie-in. It was a nice nod. But it was also Ian Holm plays the android doctor Ash in Alien, who R.I.P. Both Ash and Ian Holm, and his
No, I thought it was Rook.
Well, Ash is the
Well, he was Ash in
Alien, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Rook is a copy of Ash, so to your point, like I guess Ash blew up in the Nostromos or something like that. But I don't know. I was like, why? You could have used somebody else. You could have used somebody new. I think you don't.
Yeah, but they did that in Prometheus. Like in Prometheus, what's the second one? Covenant.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Yeah,
Fassbender, right?
Fassbender came back again, but it's a different Fassbender model.
Yeah.
The whole point, they're androids.
I know. I felt it was a little too on the nose for the nostalgia train. Like Fassbender's in the present, so there's no nostalgia drug that you're trying to tap into. And I hate it when movies have to do the whole nostalgia stuff. And Ian Holm, bringing back Ian Holm as a copy of Ash is you trying to push the nostalgia drug versus Fassbender, who, I mean, it was only 3 years apart and it's less than 10 years ago since those movies have come out. So there's no nostalgia attached to that.
I'm just saying, timeline wise, it makes sense because this movie in the Alien kind of chronology, this is in between Alien and Aliens.
Yes.
So Android technology wise, David's model has already been in space for a bit.
Yeah.
And so the next version is Ash's version. And yeah, to throw your bone, they also toss you a new android.
They do, yes.
This time around.
Yes, they do. Yeah.
Who I loved. I don't know who the actor is, but I was a huge fan of him.
That was David Johnson. Is that right? David Johnson. Yeah, and he was on Industry, Deep State, Endeavor. I don't know many of these shows. But yeah, he was wonderful, and kind of his transformation from one Android operating system to another Android operating system was pretty fun to watch too. But what do you guys think?
Oh my god, he's 30. He's 31.
Do you think he?
I thought these guys were all kids.
No, they're never just kids. But half the cast of Clueless was like 25 to 35, and they're playing high schoolers. They're never kids.
Oh my goodness! I thought they were all in like early 20s, late.
So what did you guys think, Eric? What thoughts on the film?
I loved it. The last time we were in the alien world, was it the Prometheus movies, or was there another alien movie in between?
I thought Covenant came after Prometheus.
Right,
yeah.
But like that's like a continuation of Prometheus. But was there something else in between?
I think it was
Covenant. I think so.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Covenant was the last thing we saw.
Yeah, because in between there was Predator, but that's something else. But I like the return to this really cramped ship action. Like Prometheus and Covenant gave us like the worlds, right? Like you got there. This felt like more like the original Aliens, where things are happening on a ship. I do like the parallels that are between this and the other Alien movies. I liked how you can go into this movie blind, honestly, without having seen other Alien movies to really enjoy it. Chris is next to me. There are a few jump scares where I go, oh, like that was like, I was like, that was good stuff. I did not recognize, by the way, most of the cast that was in this movie, which I love when that happens in a major movie like this. And generally I enjoy the story, and I really like the subtle tiebacks to some of the quote unquote canon of this whole alien universe, right? Like you heard about the reference to like the Weyland-Yutanis, you heard about references to like the goo, you see all these kind of things, and like the birth of that baby alien, I was like, so good. It was so good.
That's the second gratuitous demonic / alien birthing scene I've seen this year. What is going on?
You go looking for them. We don't go looking for them.
My search history is out of control.
And I wonder, because this actually is a setup. I think you can set this up for another set of movies, right? Which is fantastic. I had no bones to pick with Ian Holm coming back, but there was a bit of an uncanny valley thing that happened to me when he first showed up on screen. I was like, this looks like a weird Bilbo puppet,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then but then after a while, like you get, like, it's insane. Like after maybe like within the, I want to say like few minutes, like I was used to the character. And it is crazy to see that happen. And love the creature work, love the FX work on this movie. Anyway, I generally very much enjoyed it, which makes me want to go back and rewatch the Alien. The 4 aliens that are out there?
More than that.
3, 4.
I think there's more. Oh, the originals? Because there's Aliens 1 through 4. Then there's Covenant, Prometheus.
Right. I was thinking about
just the originals,
just the aliens. Though Prometheus is one of my favorite movies. I know some people hate it, but it's one of my faves because I think I love Fassbender in that movie, and I think everything else just kind of came with it.
Yeah.
Anyway, thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I will reserve my balls for when everyone else want to give their balls.
Nitro, what are your thoughts?
I mean, for me, it was hilarious sitting next to Eric with all the jump scares.
Aw. I like how Eric kind of downplayed it, and then, Chris, you just kind of threw him right under the bus.
It was good stuff. I was like, oh!
I mean,
and I do the turn around, go, did you see that?
It was, I liked it a lot. I think it was fun. For me, what I liked the most was the practical effects, right? They brought you back into, was it the late 70s?
Yep, 79.
Early 79. So they brought you back to the area with like the CRT monitors and all the buttons and the toggles and this and that. And I'm like, whoa, they really did their homework here. And like, I don't know if they went to a salvage yard or whatever, or like they just recreated all those things manually or digitally or whatever the case may be. But they like recreated the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon, so to speak. Like they actually did it. So yeah, the digital effects and whatever like was very gritty and things like that. Like it's in universe, right? You felt like you were on the mining colony. So that's what I really, really loved about the film. Acting was great. All the quote unquote kids did a great job. Yeah. They all have a bunch of acting stuff under their belts, so they're experienced actors, so to speak, although albeit new to the American audiences somewhat. I think they did great. The Ian Holm thing, I forgot, what was the other guy's name? Bishop.
Mm-hmm.
The synth bad special effects, but on purpose because he's damaged. Like that's what I likened it to. So yes, it's uncanny valley, but I'm remembering back when like they were doing practical effects to recreate the scenes, like showing the half ripped apart synths. I think it looked really cool, right? I think it evoked that feeling, right? Because I think they could have done away with that entirely. Like they could have completely CGI'd that out and made it really realistic. But I think they brought it back to like, no, we're going to use late 70s, early 80s technology and make them look like we're doing a practical effect using digital effects. So I was like, okay, that makes sense. It wasn't like a half torso, like sitting under a table kind of situation.
Yeah.
They actually used robots or robotics, quote unquote. Use the term very loosely. I liked it a lot. Yeah, I don't know how much else I could talk about it.
Oh, yeah.
You guys hit the nail on the head. Like all these things, Baby Alien. It was nightmare fuel. That's all it really was.
So good. It was so good. You knew that was gonna happen when it started popping out.
Yeah.
I go, oh, this is a real birth right here.
Jesus.
I mean, just the Baby Alien form. I was like, what is that? Like I can't, like, there's so many things that are coming to mind, and I'm like, it's an amalgamation of all these like horror nightmare fuel movies and stuff like that.
The tongue. Oh yeah, come on. Jeez.
When the baby came out, I will say Pizzuto was one of the first person I thought of. I was like, I wonder what Anthony thought about this.
Yeah.
I love me some good horror, don't get me wrong. And on its own, I mean, that, like you said, what'd you say, nightmare fuel? Yeah, it's nightmare fuel for sure. Love that stuff. I just felt I thought it was a little strange within this universe. But maybe I have to go back and rewatch Prometheus and Covenant and kind of see how that ties into it.
I mean, but even if you fast forward to the later films where you have, I mean, with Prometheus, I think specifically, where you have that human alien hybrid where it was like face but also skull, and so it's like, and then we have like dog aliens at some point we're introduced to them, so it's like like the mushing of genes like gives you weird things, so it's like I think they had the freedom to do this stuff. So like the real alien part of this, other than being this tall slender man looking thing, was the back, right?
As the space jockey,
right?
Yeah.
So all of that stuff all together, I think they did a great job. I mean, Eric got scared. That's it worked.
That's all that matters. That's all that matters. Oh man, now I have to find out where we are so I can bleep that out. Thank you. 4635. Okay. All right. So Disco Balls. What are we giving it for Disco Balls?
I'll give it 4 Disco Balls.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll do 4.5. This is good
Whoa,
stuff.
4.5. All right. I'll go at 4 as well. It was a fun watch. Really enjoyed watching it on the big screen. Really nice in the Alien universe. Great practical effects. Great visual effects. Fun story to watch. So yeah, I'm with you on 4. Sweet.
Nice, cool. I'm glad we all enjoyed it, because it's one of those, it's a hard thing to people to carry a legacy, you know what I mean, and make sure they do right by it. So yeah, I'm curious. What is audience score, Rotten Tomatoes, IMDb? What are we talking about there?
81% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, 86% audience score. Now, it is the first weekend, and I don't know when these numbers get updated, so I'd be curious to see if they change on Monday after we get through the first full weekend. Box office-wise, so the only dailies that are available right now are for Friday. Monday we'll get the full weekend, but on Friday, it won Friday at 18 million. Deadpool and Wolverine came in second at 8.1 million. It ends with us. I still don't understand why people are seeing this movie. 7.7 million. Borderlands is nowhere to be found in the top 5 for Friday. And then
I might just go watch it because I heard you guys talk about it last week.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was terrible. It was terrible. And it's actually funny. So just looking at last weekend's numbers, August 9th through the 11th, Deadpool obviously owned the weekend at 53 million. It Ends With Us came in at 50 million. $50 million. Again, it is a romance movie. Whatever they're doing to market this film, it's working. I don't get it.
Mr. Blake Lively is really good at marketing shit. So.
No, he really is. Twisters came in third last weekend at 15 million. Borderlands. So I think Borderlands got 8 million on Friday. Borderlands for the entire weekend came in at 8.6 million. So it peaked on Friday and then barely touched the surface the rest of the weekend. And I was talking with a pal who has an in with Lionsgate, and he's like, "Yeah, they knew this was going to be a bomb. It was
They
filmed,
should just return it off. I don't know why they just write it
or
off.
well, or send it just right to streaming.
Streaming?
I mean, and this is going to hit streaming pretty darn fast. So,
I will wait.
yeah,
I will
wait, don't spend your money. It was just a disappointment. And folks who are new to our show, if you want to hear what we're talking about, check out our episode 39. Oh, wow, guys.
Last
episode, episode 39, where we talk about Borderlands.
Which, by the way, can we talk about how Disney is just dominating with their movies? Because I'm pretty sure, because it's 20th century, right? So this movie was a Disney movie. Deadpool is a Disney movie. Yep.
Inside Out 2
was a Disney movie.
Yep. So
they're crushing it.
Worldwide in 2024 right now, Inside Out is at 1.6 billion. Deadpool and Wolverine is at 1.1 billion. Despicable Me 4, that's Sony, right?
That's not theirs.
Yeah. Or DreamWorks, I think, is Despicable Me.
Yeah.
811.9 million. Dune Part 2, I still haven't seen it, 711 million. And then Godzilla X Kong is at 567 million. That's worldwide for 2024 so far. Those are the top 5 films, highest grossing films of 2024.
And then Disney's year is going to continue because they have... Is it Moana 2 coming out this year also?
Is that this year?
I don't know what the time frame is on that.
And I think like Mufasa is coming out.
Mufasa, but that'll be December, so it's going to have a very short 2024 tail. It'll probably have a much bigger impact on their 2025 numbers.
I mean, it's still crazy. Like Disney, after all their bombs, I think this year is going to be a good year for them.
And they needed it. Yeah, 2023 was just a hot mess for Disney. And the strikes didn't help at all, but in general, they had an awful 2023. All right, shall we continue on with round 2?
Absolutely. Well, I'll start off. So, what you watching, Chris? This week, I finished out the Umbrella Academy. It was the final season, season 4, of a show that I actually loved very, very much when it started. It kind of faltered a little bit last season, I think. But I think they finished strong, right, for being a final season. So the Umbrella Academy is based on a comic book that was a limited series. It only ran for 2 years, I think, in the mid-2000s. And then they kind of like brought it back a little bit in the late teens. Created by one of the guys from My Chemical Romance, which is cool, branching out, doing music, doing art, stuff like that. And it's for the uninitiated, the Umbrella Academy is basically based on a dysfunctional family of superheroes, right? Something happens where all these people were born at the exact same moment, and they all were born with these magical powers or superhero powers and stuff like that. And the protagonist, Sir Reginald Hargreaves, he's not a protagonist. He's one of the characters. The kids are the protagonists of the movie, of the show. They basically fight crime, through his training and stuff like that. So think of like X-Men, but indentured servitude X-Men.
Mm-hmm. That's a good way to put it.
Because this father figure, quote unquote, he's very matter of fact. He's willing, to cut off the arm if it's like not doing what it's supposed to be doing. Kind of person, very regimented, and wants to make sure that everything falls in line according to plan and stuff like that. So, just very dysfunctional family. And this season kind of wrapped things up, got everything together, and put a bow on at the end. Nice. Spoiler, it's been over for a little while now, a couple weeks, I think. Yeah. But spoiler, they come to the conclusion that in order to save the world, because that's what they've been doing this entire time, is they jump through timelines and they jump through history and the future and the past and things like that. So they come to the conclusion, in order to fix or save the world from being destroyed over and over and over again, because that's what they've been doing constantly, is they realize that they have to end themselves. Right? They are the reason why the world keeps getting destroyed. So basically, they were imbued with this matter, and because this matter was created, there was an antimatter created, and the two are just trying to constantly negate each other, and in doing so, it constantly causes the world to end. So they said, well, in order to bring balance, is like we have to end ourselves. It sounds morbid, but it's not what you think it is. They literally just fuse with this antimatter, and then they cease to exist. And then everything is all sunshine and roses and stuff like that at the end. And that's how the season basically ends. It's just that they literally are negated. They don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
And everybody else kind of like comes back, who they've affected throughout their lives, and that's all. That it just literally ends. And I was like, oh, okay, that kind of makes sense. I never read the comics, but I think they did a good job. I like the characters. I like the dysfunctional part of the entire thing, and how they all got tied together, and how they realized how much they needed each other, to get through life as kids going into becoming adults. I think they did a great job. So yeah, I think it was a great show. I don't know if you guys watched it at all.
Yeah, I'm a few episodes.
I lost steam on the show, I think, last season. I was like, I'm not really following it anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I finished it, but if you ask me what season 3 is about, I can't begin to tell you. Like, I need to go back and maybe watch all of those like recaps. But maybe that's what they're ending at season 4.
I said it in House of the when we were talking about House of the Dragon. The recap is playing for season 3 of the Umbrella Academy now, right? And the same thing happened to me with House of the Dragon. The recap is playing for season 3, and I'm like, when did that happen? Like, I have zero. What is all this stuff happening? So, like I said, it faltered a little bit in season 3. Eric, I suggest finishing it up. I know you like to make sure you watch everything, even how terribly bad things are.
I will finish it.
Yeah. And Anthony, just definitely go ahead, watch the whole thing.
Yeah. I'm about 4 episodes in, and I love the Umbrella Academy. It gets a little wacky. I mean, same with Doom Patrol. I mean, that gets a little off the rails too. But I just adore the characters. I think they're just wonderfully performed. They're wonderfully written. They have great storylines. And this season, I love the Jeans, played by Nick Offerman and Megan Mullally, married for the past 21 years. They've also appeared together in Parks and Rec and a bunch of other things. And just seeing them together in this kind of capacity is hysterical. But no, I'm really enjoying season 4. I'm bummed that it ends the way it does now that I know this. But looking forward to seeing how they wrap it up for myself. But yeah.
There is a little bit of a nod. I didn't completely spoil it for you, but there's a little bit of something at the end that's like, oh, maybe something.
Oh,
but
okay, all right.
So I'll leave it at that. My summation, like I said, I'll give it because the series is over and it's all done. Overarching, I'll give it a 3.5.
Okay, yeah.
For the entire show or just this season?
The entire show. Right, the dip there was season 3. I think it would have gotten a solid 4 if it wasn't for the end of season 3 that I completely forgot because I was like, "What is going on here?"
It was weird.
Yeah. Eric, what you watching?
Snowpiercer season 4 and the final season. So there's some parallel that we're seeing here today. Is airing. This is kind of like Umbrella Academy in the sense that I forgot what season 3 was all about. I mean, because it's been so long. Because I'm pretty sure the show was gonna be got canceled. It was on TNT. It was the home, and it got picked back up by AMC, I believe. And so, there was a bit of a delay there. Kind of restarted. And for those who don't know, this is a show I've been watching. It started as the movie Snowpiercer, well, the Korean movie, and then it turned into a American movie, and now there's a whole TV show. They're on to season 4. It's not done yet. It's week by week, right? So I think we're on episode 5 right now. So I've been just kind of catching all the way up. So no judgment yet, but it has made. I do remember there's a bit of a lull in the last season as well, and I think being in the final season, they're picking it back up. So the idea was, I think this train goes around the world to try to, this is the only humanity that stays alive, and then you find out in later seasons that, oh wow, like there actually might be pockets of people who are still alive. And then last season ended with them decoupling one of their trains to go live permanently in this like nice inhabitable place that they found. Well, season 4 comes around, and then they realize there might be more survivors than they expected. Ta-da-da! They introduce Clark Gregg as a major, I think at this point, antagonist in this movie. So like the big bad. And I'm a huge fan of Clark Gregg. And so seeing him here, he plays like this like military dude who showed up out of nowhere to start, who leads like a world like peacekeeping force and start taking over taking over the character's train, do all these kind of things for the greater good of humanity kind of situation. And it's just a joy to watch it back on the screen. He hasn't been on a lot of screen a lot, and so it was a surprise for me to see him pop back on, and I look forward to keep on watching him and seeing how that ends. No balls yet. This is not done yet, but it has gotten me a little bit more excited about the show, and then I hope they go out with a bang. Speaking of Clark Gregg, by the way, back in like the early 2010s, I saw a movie that he, I think, wrote and directed.
Oh.
It was like a small indie movie. And what's it called? Hold on. I have Clark Gregg's Wikipedia turned on. It's a show called Trust Me. It's a movie called Trust Me. And basically he's like a agent in Hollywood, and he helps like child actors and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, what was really funny about the way that, and no one's ever gonna see this, but the way that this movie ended was the whole movie felt very just grounded, just like a small indie movie. But at the end of the movie, I think he died, I remember, and he flew away on angel wings, like very impressive looking angel wings. In the Q&A, so it just didn't feel like part of the movie. It just feel like, wow, all the production value did it go to like this shot right here.
Interesting.
And then in the Q&A, someone was like, "Oh, that was a crazy set of props you got there." It's like, yeah, Marvel owe me a few things, so they made these things for me.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Anyway, love the guy, like the show, love seeing him in this show, and I will let you guys know once I finish.
All right, reserving your balls.
Awesome. AP, take us on out.
All right.
What you watching?
So I'm watching Tarot, which is on Netflix right now. And it came to Netflix very quickly. It was just in the theaters, but it came from Sony. And Sony and Netflix have a deal where Sony's content is being ported out of the theaters into the Netflix platform pretty quickly. But Tarot is pretty much what you think it is. It's about a group of kids who uncover a kind of deck, a tarot deck, and there's this golden rule of tarot that I didn't know until I watched this movie, where you're not supposed to use other people's tarot decks, otherwise it's bad luck. Well, as you can imagine, it was somebody else's deck, and the kids, well, they weren't so lucky. This woman gives a reading to all of the kids at this party that they're at, and each one of the kids starts dying. It's your classic 80s, 70s, 80s monster slasher horror, scare fest. Lots of jump scares, lots of good lore attached to it. They're cursed ancient tarot deck that's been traveling through the ages and killing people for hundreds of years. It was just a lot of fun. One of the I didn't recognize a lot of the performers from it, but the main star is Harriet Slater. And she was in Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. She was in Pennyworth, and so she has some kind of cred to her. But the one standout that I immediately recognize is Jacob Batalon from Spider-Man. He plays Ned in Spider-Man, and he is just as fun and effervescent and the comedic relief that every horror movie formula has. He is it in that. If you're looking for a fun horror film, if you don't mind a little blood and gore, if you like some good mythology, this is a fun horror movie to watch. Tarot, streaming on Netflix. I'll give it... horror movies are tough with me in the disco balls. I'm going to give it 3.5 disco balls.
That's better than I expected.
Yeah, really? Okay. All right. I feel like...
Especially when you just preface it by saying that horror movies are tough with me.
They're really hard because, and I know one day we're going to do the horror movie episode, but the bar for horror for me is if it elicits a physical and mental reaction, then that's a really good horror movie. This was just a fun, scary watch. This is akin to, you grab your friends and it's sleepover night and you pop on Friday the 13th Part 3, and you just have a good old time, a popcorn horror. This is what that was like for me. So yeah, 3.5.
I don't do that.
Yeah.
I don't just pop on horror movies for fun.
So there you have it.
That is much better than I thought you were gonna give the balls.
So what were you thinking I was gonna give the balls?
Well, again, you prefaced it by saying that, this is gonna be tough, and then you gave it 3.5. I think is decent.
Nice.
I mean, having watched Alien now with Eric, I have a newfound understanding of how much of a chicken Eric is.
So here's the thing: I enjoy very much sci-fi scares.
Okay.
I think sci-fi scares I'm excited about. I think I like sci-fi, fantasy, scary stuff. Like when you're talking about ghosting a house kind of situation, or like a clown or some stuff. I was like, I don't want to put myself in that situation. I in college I had a friend who, when we go watch horror movies together, she was the kind that when everyone else is around screaming, she's laughing at the screen, and she's one of those people I go like, oh my god, what's it gonna take to scare you? Because she just find I think she's the scariest lady ever. Be able to.
Well, one of these days we're going to drag you to a actual horror movie, not a sci-fi horror movie, but like an actual supernatural. And I'm going to sit on one side, Chris is going to sit on the other side, and we're just going to film you.
So this is what you guys don't understand. So I grew up in the world of Japanese horror.
Oh yeah, that's screwed up stuff. Woo. Yeah.
because and this is what Japanese horror is super scary. A lot of them are set in like schools, right? Like all these kind of things. My school growing up looked exactly like those schools, right? And then you hear about like things like, oh, don't count the steps at night leaving the school because if you're missing a step, like something's bad's gonna happen to you. Don't go to the toilet because all these kind of things. So like one of those things where I'm like, no, I was scarred at a very young age. So
that's hysterical.
No, thank you.
Hysterical.
I mean, I get that. You grew up in a culture with lots of superstitions. Lots and lots of superstitions.
Yeah, I'm not supposed to go swimming this month. So, just throwing that out there.
In the
That's
month of
weird
August?
in the lunar month of July, which is where we are in right now.
Oh, boy. Okay.
The gate to the underworld has opened.
Oh.
And so, all the spirits are out hanging out. And, even though I'm not offending any of them, you should avoid the water because they can drag you in there to bring you back down.
Oh, I love it.
Into the underworld.
Yeah, that's my jam. All right. Love it.
Yeah.
Is it night swimming or just swimming?
Swimming in general.
Oh, that
so
sucks.
you'll notice that a lot of Asian people, well, caveat, Taiwanese people, do not like to go swimming in the month of maybe around late July, early August.
All right.
Okay.
Well, now everybody knows. Thank you, Eric.
Nice. Yeah, odd. I mean, Eric, excuse me. Eric is the type of guy that's like, I saw this video on YouTube recently where it was like 3 guys walked into someone's house, and then like the guy played a prank on them, and all the like Alexa, the lights turned red. And the one guy literally, the 2 guys walked in. They started taking their shoes off. The one guy, he just like, nope, and just 180. That's Eric. That is Eric.
Oh my God.
It's like you watch there was a commercial. There was a commercial that was like I think actually no, it's not a commercial. It's one of those like at the beginning of the movie tell you to turn off your cell phone kind of situation. And then I remember it's one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, well, we're running away from a serial killer. Of course we run toward like a shed that looks like it is where the serial killer's gonna hide. Why would you go there? Go anywhere else.
The rules of horror. The rules of horror.
Just keep running. What's wrong with you people?
Nice. Okay. I mean, we'll save more content for the horror episode. That's never going to happen.
Take us home, Nitro. Take us home.
Thank you. Do you want more Geeky A Go-Go? Well, make sure you're following us on all the socials at Geeky A Go-Go and share with us what you're watching. Want cool stuff? Want to connect with us on a higher level, like on our Discord channel? Head on over to patreon.com/geekyagogo and support the show. You'll get awesome swag and other perks. If you haven't done so already, make sure you're following the show on your favorite podcast platform and leave us a review. Thanks so much for listening. Peace out, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
All right.